Live on YouTube. Are we live anywhere else yet? Maybe. Okay, looks like X is live. Awesome. Oops, don't want to do that. Not showing up yet on LinkedIn. There it is. And I see the notification for the YouTube channel just went out as well. I should get like some hold music, fun, funky beats, background noise, whatever, for while we are hanging out, waiting for people to show up. Make sure I get everything open. Give people another minute or two to come in. Alrighty, let's get started. Before we kick this off, apologies for the late stream here. As of an hour and a half ago, a lot of family and friends of mine that live over in Israel were under attack by an enormous Iranian ballistic missile barrage, etc. So it was a little difficult to focus on technology and business. So thankfully that's over. No real major injuries or casualties, etc. So going to try and get back into this and get back to work. All right, let's officially kick it off here. Now that I got that out of the way, last week's episode sounded good, so hopefully this one will as well. Welcome back to Tech for Work, where I discuss the things I found interesting in tech and business world this week. My name is Jesse Nolan. I'm your host and the founder of Tab Geeks. Welcome to October, everyone. I don't know if you've looked at a calendar recently, but it is October the 1st. I'm still going, how the hell did we get here? Isn't it still January? Aren't we just, planning this year and starting it off? So crazy. I don't know. It's been a crazy year. This past week, I was actually out in Utah. That was last week. Yes, it was. Time flies. My wife went to a conference out there in Salt Lake City, and I haven't been to Salt Lake City ever. I've only been to Utah once. I was down in Beaver for about 10 days for a family vacation and fell in love. It was absolutely gorgeous and just so relaxing and enjoyable out there. And Sammy says, isn't this episode 4? Yeah, probably. I don't know where I have it listed as episode 3, but I'll update that afterwards. Thanks for the heads up. But yeah, so Utah was fantastic. It was nice. I didn't actually go to the conference. I just went to the fun parts of the conference, the parties afterwards and stuff. So they did like a casino night, and Jerry Seinfeld actually performed. So that was pretty cool getting to see him live and share in some of the fun of my wife's colleagues and the technology and business that they're doing, because it is she's a CTO, as I mentioned before. So it's a it's a conference for a company called Entrada, and they're a real estate property management software, ERP essentially. And so this was their big conference talking about everything that's in the product and training and so on. So they put on a really, really good show. I was very impressed. And in the downtime, I was just doing my own thing, connected to the hotel Wi-Fi, which thankfully was passable, actually halfway decent. Uploaded a video or two on it last week. So, small miracles, I guess, because when it comes to hotel Wi-Fi, you can really not be in a good situation. Thankfully, I also had my 5G from T-Mobile for Wi-Fi as a backup, should I needed to, but that also can depend on if you're next to a tower or not, whether or not you're actually going to get any signal out of it. So, yeah. Other than that, in Utah, it was just a good time hanging out. Got to ride the scooters around Salt Lake City, explore a little bit, get some ice cream, and that was pretty much it. So, that's it on the update over there. Let's jump into a couple of things here. Google rolled out a bunch of updates to Gemini. Announcements, which I am going to do a full video on it once I get some final clarifications on things. I am still waiting to hear back on chat what I can and cannot talk about here. Let me just pull this up and make sure that they haven't replied, because if they did, then I can just do it live. But looks like no, I haven't heard back from them yet. But essentially, what Google did is they announced that in Google Workspace, all users that have that have a license to Gemini, that's going to stay the same. That's not changing. That's the enterprise and business tiers. The only thing that's changing is those who are accessing Gemini.google.com, which is the Gemini app, are accessing that in the browser. Up until now, that's been the consumer model, the consumer version, and hasn't really been included as part of the Google Workspace core service. And with that comes the SLA and the data protection and all that jazz. And essentially, that is similar to using Google Photos, for example, or YouTube with a Google Workspace account. It's not included as part of what's officially supported in Google Workspace, and so therefore, you I won't say that you're taking a risk, but it's not as 100% or 99.999% uptime or any of those other guarantees. And what's happening now is, by making both Gemini and Vid's core services, is they're bringing them under that umbrella, and that's going to be fantastic, because Vid should have been there in the first place, because it is one of the editors. It's one of their core apps, and I use that term not as official as core, because now it's only just joining core now, but it is here to stay. It's not an experiment or something that was created just for consumers. It's a part of Google Workspace, and so that takes care of vids. But on the Gemini side, what it's doing is essentially making sure that if somebody in your organization who does not have an enterprise or business Gemini license add-on for their user, that if they go to Gemini.google.com, they will now be using a version of it. Granted, it's still the less intelligent model. It's not the latest and greatest model, but it will be the version that, or at least it will be contained within your environment and in your Google Workspace with those data protections, and will not be used to train the model in any way, shape, or form. Your data is your data as long as you're paying Google for Google Workspace. And that's pretty much all the tiers, I believe, that can access it are included in that. But I am trying to get more details on that and what else is part of that announcement, and we'll be doing a video. I'd hope to film it today, but depending on when they get back to me, then perhaps it may be a little bit delayed. So just to clarify, no, Gemini is not going free. Gemini is going to be much greater adoption, across the board, most likely, as people start hearing more about it. That's always a good thing. Having it as a service that's built into Workspace means a lot of admins will be more comfortable turning it on for the rest of the organization. Whereas up until now, there is actually a setting in the admin panel where you can turn off Gemini.google.com, which is the Gemini app, as they call it, and essentially many organizations did, because it doesn't have the same protections we talked about a little bit ago, and now they're going to be able to turn them back on once this fully rolls out. So keep an eye on the Workspace update blog for that, because that's going to be rolling out, if it hasn't already. Let me just double check that. Since we're doing it live, we'll do it now. We'll take a look. Where did I see it? Smart Replies. No? All right, maybe I haven't seen it yet. All right, so a couple of other things to go on over here. There are new Chromebooks. Chromebooks are an interesting space. I love Chromebooks. I've used many of them. I am working on a series of videos using more of them. As mentioned last week, I have the Chromebook, Acer Chromebook Plus 515. I am probably getting the Acer Spin 540 in, I think. And I have another one also from Asus that I talked about last week that I am going to be doing full-on videos on talking about those. But just this morning, Google lifted the embargo on two new Chromebooks that are officially announced now. You have the Samsung Galaxy Chromebook, which is a new amazing Chromebook. Sorry, Chromebook Plus specifically, which is a new amazing Chromebook from Samsung, which I'll show images of in a moment. And then Lenovo has rolled out the latest update to the Lenovo Chromebook Duet. This is version. This is the third version, I believe. And this is a very interesting tablet slash convertible. Think Microsoft Surface, but for Chromebook. And really solid design. It has a built-in kickstand, foldable. You can do a portrait or landscape. It's got. Let me get some of the details. Let me bring this over here so I can share that with everyone. Put this. No, I don't want to share that. Get this up on the screen here. Share screen. Let's do this one. So this is the new Lenovo Chromebook Duet 3. So it's got this nice solid tablet here. Let me just double check on the specs. I don't want to get any of this wrong here. It's an 11-inch, 10.95 WXGA display, 400 nits, which is very respectable for a Chromebook, especially a tablet. It's got a MediaTek Companion 838 processor. It is touchscreen, works with USI 2.0 styluses. I don't think it comes with one. I think you have to buy either theirs or whichever one works best for you. Has up to 12 hours of battery life, and it has an included case with the keyboard and the kickstand so that you can do this in portrait or landscape. So this gives you a better idea of kind of what it looks like. Full-size or relatively full-size keyboard here, which you'll recognize from other Chromebooks. Pretty standard fare there. Looks like USB-C and headphone jack on this side, as well as power button and speaker grill. And over on the other, there's another better view of that with the kickstand and detached. And on the back here, you have an 8-megapixel camera up in the top corner, and they really are planning to take advantage of that with some of the new features coming to Chrome OS, where you're going to be able to share that and take pictures with that while you're working, which is really nice. And that looks to be like all of the images that I have of that. Let me just show let me see if I have better images of the kickstand. Hold on a sec, because the kickstand is pretty cool. Stop that sharing, go into another window. Let's see here. Bum, bum, bum. Give me the imagery here. Lenovo Chromebook. No, not really great imagery. All right, I'm gonna have to find and put some better imagery links in the show notes for all of you when I can find those, because it's essentially not your typical kickstand. It's the type of kickstand where it folds out from the back at a angle, almost origami type, or can so that it can support basically landscape or portrait mode, and can hold the tablet up, regardless of the orientation that you want to have it on. Okay, so that's the Lenovo. Now let me bring up the details on the Samsung, which is also a very nice piece of equipment here. Where is the device imagery? Here we go. Samsung Galaxy Chromebook. So remember the remember the Chromebook Plus branding means that it comes with requirements to have a certain level of processing power, RAM, etc. in the unit, and so this does. Here it is. This is a all-metal, beautiful 16-inch, if I'm not mistaken. 15.6-inch laptop from Samsung and the successor to the Samsung Galaxy line. The original Galaxy Chromebook was absolutely gorgeous, bright red. I don't know if anybody got hands-on with that. Battery life was terrible. So then they came out with the second version that had better battery life and was also beautiful and better battery life and better all around. But this seems to be the successor to all of that, and this looks like an absolutely stunning piece of equipment and possibly the new successor to the premium Chromebook form factor. As I think I mentioned on this show, that the HP what the hell is it called? The Dragon, sorry, the HP Dragonfly Pro or Elite. The Elite was canceled. The Pro is still around, or vice versa. I can double check on which that is. But essentially, they said that they were going to stop making that one, and it was my favorite for the real premium form factor, and looks like this is probably going to take the cake. It is 15.6 inches, as I mentioned before. I prefer 13 or 14 inches, but that's just my personal opinion here. This thing is just really thin, really sweet design. It comes with 8 gig of RAM, a Intel Core 3 100U Raptor Lake-R processor, which is pretty awesome. It has did I say 8 gig of RAM? It has 8 gig of RAM, and it is 2.5 pounds, 11.8 millimeters thick. So you can see how thin this thing really is, and just really looks quite nice. You'll notice something new about the keyboard here, and I want to make sure that I get the details right on this. So they are calling... Can you see my mouse? Yeah, they're calling the caps lock key is now being renamed and redesigned as a quick insert key, and this is going to start coming to the Chromebook line on new Chromebooks as well. But essentially, this is going to integrate with some new Gemini features that they're building into Chrome OS, which are going to be quite nice. And I believe there's a launch video which I can share. But essentially, they're launching a recorder app. You're going to be able to do image generation. You'll have Help Me Write. You'll have focus mode, which is something where you can essentially actually I don't have the real detail on that, so I'm not just going to recap what they said in the event because I want to make sure that I get all this right. But essentially, this is being released as a Chromebook Plus, even though it's consumer. I figured I would cover it here because even the consumer laptops often get purchased for the business environments, especially small to mid-size, especially when there is a crunch of availability and you don't have a lot of these that are either in Best Buy or available to be ordered because some of the larger groups are doing huge orders or whatever. Oftentimes you'll be able to go into Best Buy and get some of the more consumer stuff. They work the same, they're manageable the same, they may not be as rugged or awesome, but depending on the position that you need it for, which is what my series is going to be about, a lot of these consumer focused type laptops are going to be just fine. And quite frankly, I think that this one is in between the consumer side and the professional side. So let me stop sharing there and pull up some more details on the Samsung. It is a ultra portable, thin and light laptop with sleek design, eye-catching Neptune blue color. That's their thinnest and lightest Chromebook Plus yet, and comes packed with 8 gig of RAM, the processor that I mentioned before, 13 hours of battery life, and it's the first Chromebook Plus to include the quick insert key, which I just talked about, and it will be available starting in October. Let me see here, the Chromebook, Lenovo Chromebook Duet 11 will be, when will it be available? Do they say in the release notes here? Later this month? No. All right, I will get notes on exactly when that's going to be available. Tune in next week for information on that. Let me head back over to my show notes, which I have lost. Here they are. Okay, so those are the new Chromebooks. Those are the Gemini updates that I am able to share. Again, make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned on the channel for information on or more clarification on the Gemini updates and how all that works and whatnot. On to a couple of quick Google Workspace updates. Notebook LM. If you haven't heard of Notebook LM, it is a very interesting thing that they announced at Google I/O, I believe. Made by Google. It is not one of the core workspace services. So take that with a grain of salt, given everything we said before. But essentially, it's a place for you to store your notes, and it's designed in a way that's supposed to help you take advantage of and access the information that's stored in your notes from different things. And it has been in the news lately. It hit the top of Hacker News and was being tried out by a lot of people. Some of the more interesting use cases came about more recently when they enabled the ability to create a podcast from a subset of your notes. And people are uploading entire transcripts from court cases and having it create a completely AI generated podcast on a true crime in a true crime style. And it actually sounds pretty good. Now it is quippy and it is, corny, and does sound kind of robotic, and it's still early for this, and this isn't a product per se, but it is. I mean, it is a product, but it's not a full blown product yet. It's still just something that they're testing and playing around with. But essentially, it's pretty good. You're able to listen to them talk about this case and the drama that surrounds it, and who said what and why they said it, and different things that along those lines. And essentially, it's using Gemini models such as 1.5 Pro and building that out as a podcast. So some information on why I'm talking about that here is because it's now available for Google Workspace as an additional service. Over the past year, has become available globally in over 100 languages, and essentially you are able to upload source documents, be it Google Docs and Slides, PDFs, websites, copy text, etc. You put that into a notebook, and then you can ask Notebook LM questions about the information in the sources, and it'll respond with answers from the sources that you've uploaded, along with inline citations from those documents to show you what it's based on, so that you know where your sources are coming from, which is pretty cool. And so this is going to be rolling out. If you had access to it as part of the early access, you're going to be able to continue using it. For everyone else, admins have to turn on Notebook LM as an additional service if new services are not set to turn on automatically for your end users. And as far as end users are concerned, once it's enabled in your domain, you can just go to notebooklm.google.com to start using it, and it's already available now, has rolled out. So that's pretty cool. Go and try it out if you haven't gotten a chance to play with it yet. It's really quite cool, and it gives you an interesting look into a new area of, this whole AI thing. What can AI do? This is an area that it's not just talk to the chatbot and have it give you vague answers and make shit up and stuff like that. This is actually based on your data and will only take from your data for it unless you tell it to look elsewhere, and is just super cool. All right, next up is, and I am pulling this from the Workspace Updates blog in case anybody is curious where I get my information. The Workspace Updates blog is the best for this information on the weekly basis, and my whole show for 3 years of Google Workspace Recap was based on what was coming out on these, as well as obviously my contextual knowledge. This is something that I'm very excited for. We've had in Gmail Smart Reply since 2017, and Smart Reply is basically that thing where as you are typing, it will give you what it guesses to be what you're trying to say, and even further than that, it will give you a quick response that you can just type or tap rather, or click on in order to get started replying. The problem is it's pretty basic as Smart Reply, and I have been frustrated in the past where Smart Reply would give me the suggested words when I was saying have a good weekend because it's a Friday afternoon, and it would say good night or a good day. And I'd be like, no, but it's the weekend. Like, you should know. You're Google. Come on. You should be able to have contextual knowledge. And that's what they're announcing here is Gemini and Gmail will now provide contextual smart replies. And I have already seen this on some of my accounts, so it has been rolling out in testing in beta, obviously, and looks like it's on rapid release, and scheduled domains have extended rollout starting on September 26th. So it has already begun the official rollout. As long as you have the Gemini Business, Enterprise, Education, or Education Premium add-ons for your domain, as well as on the consumer side, Google One AI Premium. One of my neighbors is working with a weed whacker. I'm looking to my side here to the cameras. Hopefully it's not coming through. Tuesday is my recording day because in general, none of my neighbors have gardening on Tuesdays, and so therefore I'm confident to get on a stream and start recording and stuff. Generally, this microphone is good at picking out outside noise and getting rid of it. So hopefully, all you're hearing is my voice and not somebody annoyingly grinding away with a weed whacker in the background there. So let's just quickly check the what do you call it? It's the chats from the streams here. I have not been looking at the comments. I apologize. Nope, looks like everybody's quiet. So I will continue. So this is a pretty cool update that's coming from Google and actually uses Gemini to be able to give you a much better, more naturally sounding and well-written or expanded upon written reply to your emails to help you get stuff done faster. All right, what else is here? Which is a notebook LM1. This is something that I've wanted for a long time. Customize your Google Docs with polished cover images. So essentially what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to insert a cover image on your documents. And I've done this in the past just by brute forcing it and, lining it up and making it look good and then making it part of my template. Now there's actual formatting for it. And I find features like this funny because it's one of those things that, like, I'm sure Word has been able to do this for 30 years or so. And they're just getting around to doing it, properly now. One thing to note is that cover images can only be added to documents that are set in pageless mode. There is a way, I believe, to do this in the regular mode, previously. So maybe this is just something that they've added new for pageless because you couldn't do it. But also looking at the screenshot here, or the GIF rather, it also kind of reminds me of the way that Notion looks on the top of their full width documents. And design. I guess design is sometimes shared across platforms and stuff. But this is available to all Google Workspace customers, Workspace individual subscribers, and users with personal accounts, and the rollout has already begun. So stay tuned for that if you don't already have it. I'm going to take a brief sip of seltzer here. Okay, the last one that I have here for Google Workspace is for the education folks. Anybody who's using Google Classroom is going to be able to have access to creating with Gemini in Google Classroom. You can use it to outline a lesson plan, craft a compelling hook, generate a quiz, relevel text, etc. Relevel text is actually super useful, and I've been using AIs for this in the past to be able to say, rewrite this in a sixth grade reading level or a college reading level, depending on what level I was going for in what I was writing. But a lot of times, if you're doing marketing or setting up a website, you want to make something as simple as possible. That's a great way to rewrite. So this is, to clarify, only available in English for education users over the age of 18. And you, I believe, will need the Gemini Education add-on. Yep. And the rollout for that has already started September 23rd, and could take up to 15 days for it to show up, and is available for customers with the Gemini Education and Education Premium add-ons. Okay, enough of Google Workspace. Let's talk about something that is Google adjacent. It is Starline. So I don't remember if I talked about this before, but Project Starline is something that Google has been working on for a very long time. And essentially what it does is it's a booth. Let me just bring up some imagery here for all of you on the video version of this, the live stream and podcast video. Essentially, you're able to sit in a booth. It's a small room, and there's a screen across from you, and you're having a video call with somebody, but it is designed in a way that is essentially holograms. The person looks 3D. They look like they're sitting in front of you, and it is so good, and I believe I may have said this last week. I've been talking about this a lot. It is so good that in the demo, which I was able to do at Google I/O, they pick something up off the table, an apple or something else, and they reach out to hand it to you, or they say hello and they reach out to do a fist bump, and you actually want to get up and take it from them or give them the fist bump because it is that real. Now, is it perfect? No. Is it the highest possible quality? No. But it is really, really good and really next level, to the point where it's like holograms of what we've been promised in the past and really wanted all of our lives are finally almost here. There's some serious 3D imaging tech that goes into this that I can't even begin to understand. And what they've done here now is they've taken it from this massive booth, which you can see here on the feed, which is a much larger setup and takes a lot to get it right. And they have productized it with HP in something that you can actually ship. And I am working on getting a demo of this. Apparently, there is one coming to a local office that I'm going to be able to play around with, and hopefully that'll be soon, and hopefully they'll let me film it. If I do, I will definitely make a video over that. Buddy of mine, Avi Greengart, who is an analyst, got a demo of it and said it works. It's not perfect. Resolution/clarity are lacking, and there are some artifacts. So similar to what I said, he said, but it feels like the remote person is right there in front of you, and that's better than high-res video conferencing. This is coming second half of 2025, so don't expect to see it around and in person anytime soon, unless you have some connections into Google like I do. I've got people from Google and HP and others all hammering to basically try and get me a demo of it so that I can make a video of it and talk about it, because I think definitely this is a major step forward in communications. And I think, as this goes on and the technology continues to mature, what is currently a large booth setup is going to be shrunken down until it's in our laptops. And let me share this tab instead. There's a much better image of it. Eventually, this will be shrunken down until the point where it's in our laptops and our phones, and the person that you're looking at, or maybe the glasses that you're wearing, will look like they are right in front of you instead of the flat 2D video that we have come so used to dealing with over the last several years. So if you're interested in applying to be among the first to receive the product, I'll leave a link in the description down below in the show notes, or just go to starline.google. This is super cool, and I cannot wait for this to come out. Okay, that's Starline. Now let's switch over to some other tech stuff. Meta had a very cool event talking about what they're doing in virtual reality. And for anybody who saw the news out of Snap, their glasses look nothing like the new Meta Orion glasses, which are super duper cool. But quite frankly, the glasses that I want is the transparent version of the current Ray-Ban Meta Smart glasses. I don't own the Meta Ray-Ban Smart glasses. I have tried them. I do want them. I haven't gotten around to purchasing them yet because they're $500, and that's a pretty big one. But I do want to do a video on that. I was going to do it this summer. I just didn't get around to it. So let me know in the comments if you're interested in seeing that. That'll help prioritize for me and pull the trigger if need be. But I love transparent tech. I think we need to bring back transparent tech. Remember the Game Boys when they were the transparent Game Boy, and we had all kinds of transparent stuff back when we were growing up. 90s kids and all that were nostalgic. So they made a pair of these glasses that are completely transparent. You can see all the tech inside and look super cool. And whether I will wear them or not, I want them because it's so iconic to have that much tech crammed into a small transparent frame to see how they do it. And I love it. And it's going to be really hard for me to spend $500 on that because I want it, but it wouldn't be the first time, given that I have the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and I bought it so that I can make content on it, but also because I love it, and it is the first Fold that I've really fallen in love with. So wouldn't be the first time, definitely won't be the last. We'll see if I get around to pulling the trigger on these, and if I do, I'll definitely make a video. Let me know if you're interested in that one. But their Project Orion is not a product yet because it's essentially dev kit status, but it will get there probably next year into a product level. Right now, each individual unit costs $10,000 for them to put together and for them to make. And obviously, those costs go down at scale when you start making hundreds of thousands of them or millions of them. But Meta is barreling down the path of owning the next major platform shift in computing, and glasses definitely seems to be the direction that they're going in. If you're interested in more of a deep dive on that, The Verge did a great podcast on that. It was either that or Dakota, one or the other. I think it was The Verge, talking about how it works and what they tried with Orion. But essentially, it's is a interface where you have holograms that are beamformed lasers that show up in the actual glasses themselves. Unlike the ones that I just showed off, which have no screens, these would essentially have screens, and you can even do things such as play ping pong with the person, with another person somewhere else, or in the same room as you, I guess. Where you are able to see the ball, and it's a totally virtual environment laid on. It's augmented reality, so it's a virtual ball and paddles and whatnot laid on over your existing world. So something that I thought was super duper cool, and definitely something that I will be looking forward to buying in the future. For those who are on T-Mobile, you may not have heard about this, but Verizon and AT&T had serious issues yesterday. There was a global outage for Verizon for 7 hours for most of the day there. It felt mainly by most of the folks that I know in New York and the tri-state area on the East Coast, but also some people out here on the West Coast were feeling it. AT&T fiber apparently also went down. T-Mobile didn't seem to have a problem. Frontier Fiber out here didn't seem to have a problem. I'm out in California, for those who aren't aware. And these things do happen. It's nice to be on the network that it doesn't happen to when that happens, but everybody goes down eventually, I suppose. So those issues have been resolved, and the networks are back online. And hopefully that wasn't too much of an inconvenience for anyone yesterday. Moving on and moving quickly because I want to start doing shorter shows because hour-long shows are hard to do. Obviously, I will do them when there's enough news to support it, but I want to keep this relatively quick and brief. And I have several other movies or videos rather that I have to film today, as long as my neighbor decides to stop cutting their shrubs or whatever it is that they're doing. I can't actually see them on the cameras, so I don't know what it is that they're cutting, but I do still hear them, so hopefully you don't. All right, I wanted to talk about Apple Intelligence. I had to turn it off on my iPhone because it refused to work. Something happened when I moved over to the iPhone 16 Pro Max from the 15 Pro Max. Every time I go to use Siri with Apple Intelligence turned on, it tells me that it needs to download Siri. And I'm like, huh? And if you go into the settings, essentially you will see it says that it is downloading content for Siri and processing it, and it gets to 99%, and I keep the app window open, and the settings window open, and I stay on Wi-Fi, and it never goes past 99. So I had to turn it off, and I'm not able to use it. And hopefully, I don't know, maybe the next beta update it'll get better. But obviously, they are still having some issues with that. So just some information on that there. All right. Next up, hang on. Next up is Ubiquiti stuff. I have 3 different topics here for Ubiquiti, and then we will wrap it out. So, Unify Protect 5.0 is officially out, and I should probably do a video explaining and showing that off. But essentially, it is the next major update to the software that you use to view and manage the Ubiquiti cameras. And it is a large update, and I recommend you go and check it out. Definitely should upgrade to it. And take a look at the video on the Ubiquiti website. Has a lot more information showing it off, but essentially you're able to do a layout on the home screen where you can custom lay out the cameras, which is definitely a welcome approach. Previously, you had to create your own video wall and then go and edit the video wall, and it wasn't, click and point and click or anything like that. Now you're able to do that. Also, it comes with on-VIF support, which I haven't had a chance to test yet. Things have been a little busy lately, but essentially you're able to adopt a growing list of third-party cameras, non-Ubiquiti cameras, which is brand new for the company. Previously, it only worked with Ubiquiti cameras. Granted, all of those features are not available unless you are working with the genuine Ubiquiti cameras, and even then, not all of the features are available for all of those cameras. For example, some of the AI features you need to get with the AI cameras. So. But anyway, this is a massive welcome update from Ubiquiti, something that people have been requesting for years to be able to support those cameras, and then now you're able to support a tremendous amount of cameras and cross sites on a single quote-unquote location through something that's called Vantage Point, which is where you can tie your Unified Protect sites together to be able to display them all on one screen. So if you have 3 different locations that are all running Protect, you can tie them together, and then all of the cameras from all of those sites will show up in one grid for you to view, which is super awesome, especially because some of the places I know have like a north side and a south side, and they're not connected in any way, and you want to be able to see those cameras together. You can now do that easily. They say that you can view up to 1,000 cameras that way, so that's pretty epic and pretty awesome from them. Next up is a video that I did on the Ubiquiti Flex Mini 2.5. This is a cute little 5-port switch. Let's see if I can get my camera to focus on it and not me. But essentially, it does 2.5 gigabit throughput, which is great to have if you're looking for something that you can just place on your desk or under your desk or in a closet somewhere where you don't want to have a full rack-mounted setup. They did move the USB-C port to the front, which apparently a lot of people on the internet disagree with me that that's a good move. I think it's a great move because in the past it had like this weird wobbly setup that would happen when you were pulling power from one side through the USB-C, and then you had all of the ports coming out the other side. I prefer to have everything on one side, and then you can just hide it away, and it looks really clean and nice. Apparently, people disagree with me because they want to be able to have the ports facing them on their desk, which I guess I definitely get if you are going to have it desktop and you're plugging stuff into it all day. I generally don't have these types on my desk because if I looking to plug something in on my desk, I prefer that it be PoE powered because usually I'm plugging in an access point or a camera or something I want to configure or test, and I don't want to also have a PoE injector to get it to boot up. And if I am looking for something to plug into my laptop, I already have a cable run for that, and so I don't need a switch like this on my desk. So I imagine probably in the future at some point they'll make one of these that's 2.5 gig with PoE included, but obviously it's not going to be this small or this cheap. So definitely go and check that out if you are interested in that. And then the big one that I have here is they finally sent me, after many, many requests and begging, the Power Amp, which is not focusing. Here we go. Point this over this way. It's their answer to Sonos, essentially. It is a very large, not very large, very complex, high quality audio. It is a little bit large, but, considering what it does and its audio equipment, it's not that massive. It actually kind of looks like a cute little like a cute little video projector, but that is a circular screen on the front with a turn wheel. I believe this is a touchscreen, so you can change things manually from here. But of course, you can also change things over on they have a new app for this. One of the things to note is that it does include an amplifier in here. So if you have speakers that you are plugging into this, you don't need to plug them into another amplifier in order to get that sound nice and loud. On the back here is a bunch of different ports. I haven't done my official unboxing video yet, so I'm not going to take this completely off. But you have eARC for TV, HDMI in, and then you have the different audio interfaces, left, right, sub, and then 2 Ethernet ports as well. So I'll be going into the details around that. I'm going to be playing with it today and getting some hands-on. I am very excited about this because I've been waiting for a long time for Ubiquiti to get into the audio space, because I really think that, especially in the smart home realm, which is fragmented and insane and has a billion different standards and is annoying, I feel that Ubiquiti is a fantastic option for managing and standardizing a lot of that, where I use Ubiquiti for the backbone for all of those systems, and what do you call it? And for the Wi-Fi, for the network, and usually security cameras, and to be able to integrate audio in a way that's going to be optimized on a Ubiquiti network is, I think, a fantastic option. So I'm very much looking forward to getting some hands-on with that and playing around with it. And I got to go dig up some wired speakers, which I haven't used in a while because I have smart speakers all over the place. But I imagine that the sound is going to be really nice, and I'll be rocking out to Rush for those who are Rush fans in the audience and know that I am a huge Rush fan. And what do you call it? Rush and some other bands while I'll be testing that, and my neighbors will get probably a good idea of the music I like to listen to, because I also like to listen to it loud. All right. That is pretty much it. Please hit the subscribe button. I am on the road to 10,000. I've been headed for, I was trying to get to 1,000 and then 2,000, and then my Starlink video exploded and I'm now over 4,000. Hopefully by next week I'll be at 5,000, which is halfway to 10,000. So I decided this morning that my goal right now is 10K, and continue making great content that everybody is going to be interested in, or not everybody, but a lot of people are going to be interested in. Obviously not all of you are going to be interested interested in Google and Ubiquiti and Apple and all the other things that I cover, but it is all around business technology. That's what I do. And I'm going to wrap this up because now it sounds like they're starting to grind up a tree instead of just cutting the shrubbery. So thanks all for joining. It's been a great one, and 43 minutes. So, all right, I will end the stream over here. Have a great week, and I will hopefully see you next time.